Hey friends, couldn't help but bring you out here to the lake again, on the boat again, and show you this. It's another dead calm, glass morning. I saw the wind report last night die down to like 0. And I think we're getting a little more than 0 now, but not much. So this serene environment is maybe perfectly appropriate after a total I don't know what to call it, like a geyser of activity starting up yesterday. A number of extended family members come into town, and cousins tumbling all over each other, playing in the pool for 5 hours. It's the launch of another really, really spectacular time. And to watch Annalise just dive in and get, this is why, I mean, she's an only child, but this is why siblings and cousins and other little kids being around, especially when they're out ahead of her, it's so massively formative. So, and amazingly, I had another dream. That had a similar environment to the one that I described 2 days ago, which was really kind of like a chamber of lucid consciousness opening up around me, and a literal workshop from 2 men that I wouldn't even recognize if I saw them on the street, but who gave me this kind of profound insight, this profound instruction for how to really create the life of my dreams. If you want to see more about that, I did a post the other day called See, Grasp, Live, Manifest. I had a really powerful dream that seemed like it wasn't just a subconscious emanation, it was something else coming through. So the dream I had tonight / this morning, which I'm still coming out of, was not quite as intense. I didn't quite have that same. It did have that same bubble. It just wasn't as quite as. It didn't feel quite as deep, or quite as. It didn't go on as long. But there was another message that came through about, and this is on some level very I don't know, simple, but the message that came through was, don't be too. This is in the context of shaping a creative life, a professional life, and life in general. It was something like, don't don't worry too much about what the work is or what you have to do right now to do the work. Think about or put this work, put the work that you want to do in the context of your overall life. Let that be the thing that guides you. And I think that's important, as obvious as that sounds, right? I mean, this would be like the most. If this was, if that dream was a college career counselor, the kid would be like, "This is your big nugget of wisdom, really? Think I want another advisor?" Um, but for me, actually, this is kind of both relevant and important because I think one of my challenges, I don't know if this is true, but I'm going to say it anyway. We'll see. I think one of my challenges is sometimes an approach that's so goal oriented that it actually obscures deeper aspects of my experience and deeper impulses in my being because the target that I'm trying to hit is so narrow, or the kind of crack in the doorway that I'm looking through appears so small, so limited. And it's not that I don't intellectually understand that's limiting, or how to that it's important to put some context around those visions. But it's kind of like sometimes I've noticed my coaches or my teachers, whether it's piano or life, whatever, the advice that they give me that really zings and that really moves me forward is very, very frequently stuff I already know. It's rarely some massive new revelation about myself. It's usually just, here's this thing that you've thought 100 times, and I'm going to say it to you again. And for whatever reason that day, getting hacked by bugs. For whatever reason that day, it zings in. It hits my heart. It opens my mind. Whatever it is. And this feels kind of like that. The context of my overall life. It's not just me. What do I want to do? What's the thing I want to do? The vision of myself. It's the life I'm living right now. It's the direction I can see myself going. What can I see expanding and unpacking in the next 10 years? It's my wife and my daughter and family. So there's a real appreciation for a message like put this in context. Don't focus too much on the this now moment right here. What about really allowing myself to see a wider context? So it felt like it was just like it was like day 2 of my workshop from the dream that began a couple nights ago. And I'm noticing every time something like that comes through, it's like it's like a big out breath. It's like a relaxing, I do know this. I know this stuff. I'm doing this stuff, and it's very clear how to do it better. I can take steps in my life. I think for me, again, kind of maybe this is my own unique spin on how to make life difficult. Take a workshop in that. How to make your life complicated and stressful, or not that stressful. It's complicated and confusing. We all have our own unique ways of doing that, right? Everybody is an expert in that until you really get your shit together. Because we all have our own personal way, our own. It's not unique. It's pretty culturally patterns according to gender, oftentimes according to family history. We're not even in control of it. It's just it does carry out whatever our version of it is. It carries our unique signature, like a fingerprint. But it's what works for us. It's what allows us to make our life complicated and confusing. But receiving messages and having time to let them settle in, to let them show up and be kind of held, waking up in the morning with enough time and space to kind of go, wait, what did I just wake up at? What was I just hearing? What happened overnight? Who was speaking to me? It feels like a real blessing. It feels like a real blessing, and it feels like it's demanding movement in a really positive way, in a way that I am excited, and I'd say there's a little fear there. There's a bit of, yeah, but, what about, which there, I think, as I've spoken about the false identity over the past couple of days, really started to, the past couple of weeks, really, I've started to notice how that emerges, how that shows up, what voice it speaks in when it's speaking to me and whatnot. And man, am I ever ready to breathe, and give space to a different voice. You know, I said yesterday, false identity is cruelty. And it really is. There's a real kind of suffocation or suppression of something. And I can feel it. I can feel it in myself. It's not, um, it's the kind of thing where it's been happening long enough that I can kind of look the other way. But I've been bringing awareness to it now recently for more and more consistently, and it's like it gets more intolerable. It's like focusing on a wound makes it hurt more, which, you know, if this was like a kid with a cut, I'd tell him not to do that. But this is different, because if I don't know the wound is there and it's having this effect, this debilitating effect, you kind of have to bring some awareness to it. So, but I can tell as I start to lean into it, there's also a little fear flag. It's like a bing, pops up, bing, red flag, and I think that's pretty normal, and I think it's fine. It's not gonna slow me down. So, ooh, my daughter is making noise. That's where I am today, folks. I appreciate you tuning in. I just can't get enough of these mornings. There's a teacher I used to work with who used to tell a story about his teacher, who's a guru in India, and used to say, when you have troubles, he used to say, I would go to the Ganges and just give them to the Ganges. Hold on, my daughter's here. I'm here, hon. I'll be right there. And I think my Ganges is Crystal Lake. Give your troubles to Crystal Lake. That seems to be what I've been doing anyway. Maybe I can do it even more consciously now. That's where I am, folks. Appreciate you. Have a wonderful day. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you tomorrow.